Hello, and welcome to this Meet the World episode with the writers Inbha from Singapore and Niroshini from the UK. I'd like to thank the National Arts Council of Singapore and the National Centre for Writing for facilitating this episode and for allowing us all to talk to each other about literature and writing and things that makes us feel joy in life. Thank you also to those of us who are joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this conversation. So, just a quick introduction first. Inba was born in India and is based in Singapore. She is a poet and a short story writer writing in Tamil. She has received the Singapore Literary Prize in 2022, the Tamil Nadu Government Best Book Award, and the Karikacholan Award from Thanjavur Tamil University. Her work includes Ilayang Layang Bird's Tweet and Kadal Nangangal Ponni, which explore themes of identity, migration, and social reflection. She has authored Kadal Tandia Sokal, a series of 25 literary essays on global poets, published in Vikatan magazine. She's the founder of Pinnayal magazine, a platform dedicated to contemporary Tamil poetry, and serves as the head of Kavimale Singapore, an organization which organizes literary festivals, workshops, and community events. She is a mentor with the Singapore Book Council and has conducted poetry workshops in local schools. She is currently participating in the National Centre for Writing's virtual residency program, and professionally, she is an experienced IT project manager with an MBA. Niroshini is a Sri Lankan born writer based in London. Her work examines themes of girlhood, gendered histories, and post colonial and diasporic identity, with a particular focus on the experience of Tamil women through both poetry and prose. Her poetry pamphlet, Darling Girl, was published by Bad Petty Press in 2021. She received a London Writers' Award in the literary fiction category and was awarded third place in the 2020 Poetry London Prize. Her work is also featured in Propel, South London Gallery Journal, Ada Stories, and Out of Sri Lanka, which was brought out by Blood Axe Books in 2023. She's also a Ledbury poetry critic. She studied law, history, and languages at university before settling in the UK. So, welcome to you both. And I'm so looking forward to talking to you both about what you do. Um, I suppose a good way to talk, to open up this conversation, is for you to maybe tell the audience a bit about what you're doing right now, what your current projects are, what you're interested in and what preoccupies you at the moment. Should we start with Inba?
Thank you. Thank you, Sash, for the introduction about myself. And first of all, before I start, I would like to thank the National Arts Council for giving me this opportunity to go for this NCW program virtually. So that's given me a lot of exposure to the literary arts scene in UK side. There's really wonderful programs that they have been organizing. Okay, so what I'm currently working on is about the historical based fiction. Although my area of expertise is more on writing forms, but this time round I wanted to try writing historical based fiction. So this fiction is rooted in cultural memory, migration, and the identity, drawing the inspiration from the lived diasporic experiences. That's the most important part I would like to focus on. The migrant who's coming to Singapore, and he also inspires to be a business entrepreneur in Singapore. So he ventured and he wanted to start a new business, and gradually the business transformed to the fictional space where the food become a language. So that's the space that I wanted to emphasize. This journey is actually the story journey is throughout 10 decades. So it's a very long journey. I just wanted to focus on everyday ritual, eating, cooking, gathering, storytelling, and showing rather than writing. So I wanted to show how it was started at the moment at that state, and how it has been growing, and how it has been adapting to the new AI era. So that's the main focus of writing this historical based fiction right now.
See, I might have missed it, but what business is this? Your main character, what business is he engaged in?
Uh, Basically, the main character is focusing on the food business. Yeah, food business here in Singapore. Especially if I can say more about the food business, is more on focusing Indian vegetarian food. Yeah, so that was the first the business who started in Singapore. Um, uh, that grows until now. The business is still going on with multiple branches.
So is it a restaurant?
It's a restaurant. Yeah, it's a restaurant. It's Indian vegetarian restaurant. Yeah, right. So by telling this story, I wanted to emphasize deeply the language, how it is being carried. Language, not only the language and the culture, how this business, how this restaurant, how this food is carrying over the period of time. Uh, During the colonial period, post-colonial period, and also to now. So how it is being adaptive to the cultural transition, and how it is been running. So that's the main focus. I wanted to also use more on satire kind of historical based stories. So that I feel that will create more interest to the readers, because history is always is just a social storytelling. That's not my focus alone. So I just wanted to change the stereotype of writing the stories. So I just want to change something that will create more interest to readers. Yeah, so that's the thing I'm currently working on.
Wow, that sounds amazing. So this restaurant, which started in Singapore in the colonial times and through to post-colonial and then now current, and looking at food. Wow. And I hope you're going to be talking a lot about food, and everybody loves food. And there is just, it is a unifying force in many ways. It sort of transcends boundaries and languages and nationalities. So that sounds amazing. And Niroshini, what are you working on?
Oh, just before I talk about what I'm working on, I'm also really interested about satire in Tamil. I think that's what you said, Inba. Because I find Tamil is such a hilarious language, which I often can't access in translated Tamil works. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how you develop that in your novel. So yeah, what I'm working on. So I also like Inba work across poetry and prose. I'm working on a book of poetry about colonial plantation history in Sri Lanka and how that intersects with my family history. And I write across short stories and more longer form fiction as well. As you mentioned in your introduction, Shash, about the histories of Tamil women and girls. And I'm also really interested in process. So, particularly about our relationship with place. So I'm interested in, I guess, like diasporic ideas of madness and place, but also accessing places which are no longer available to us. So I'm broadly interested in those three areas.
Brilliant. So madness. Did you say madness?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So food and madness. That's amazing. But talking about these places that are not accessible to us anymore, I mean, that could just sum up the diaspora experience in many ways, can't it? Um, and I suppose all three of us are dislocated from our places of origin. at the moment, whether through choice or through circumstances. Um, and I suppose I'd like to hear more about the diasporan angle of both your work, which I think both of you say is very important to you. And how are you going to be able to access these places that are denied to you now? I mean, what sort of tools do you use? What sort of research methods? That sort of thing. So yeah, should we start with Niroshini this time? And please do jump in Inba if you
Sure,
want
sure.
to.
Yeah. So,
Whilst I was preparing for this conversation, I was reviewing my work and just what I want. And it's not just um, the disassociation from the place that you perhaps are from, but I've also noticed in my work, I'm really interested in the disassociation of the self, how that sort of rupture that relocating place really creates in a person. I guess it's almost a cliche amongst diasporic writing, talking about diaspora and belonging and food and things like that and the love of the mother tongue. But actually, we think about how dramatic that rupture is. Like, if you think about all our ancestors, they probably lived in one place for centuries and centuries. And actually, we're sort of that generation who's done this crazy thing, speaking in different languages. It's actually a really powerful thing, I think. Um, but in terms of the writing, I feel, yes, I guess connection to or reconnecting to Tamil. Even though I'm not a native speaker anymore, even if the first 6 years of my life I was a native speaker, that's one way to reconnect um uh with that, I guess, that history. Um and also I guess you can't really escape it. You can't really escape your, I guess, your family environment, you can't escape your history. So I guess it just naturally comes out in the work.
yeah. So, as Niroshini rightly pointed out, the love of mother tongue. Yeah. So that is the most important thing. Every diasporic uh, uh, people wanted to retain their identity wherever they go. They love their mother tongue and they carry their identity. Yeah. So, by leaving them behind, they feel that they are losing something. So, as he said, that she's not been able to speak in Tamil for quite some time, and now, of course, we can't forget our history. Yeah, that's very true. But that's the challenge across. Even in Singapore, retaining the language and promoting the language speaking people, that is also another challenge. Yeah, that's a point that we also wanted to emphasize here. Okay, so the reference materials, as you mentioned, in Singapore, when I came to Singapore first time, I was just when it just came to our airports and was looking around with one yellow sari and where to go and what to do, which I didn't know. But now uh, I can go anywhere. So it becomes my own country. That's how the writing is also started. So when I start writing, I was also what to write, what not to write. That also it was very challenge. But now I feel myself is, yeah, I'm more convenient, I'm more flexible in writing. Yeah. So the references which I can get it. So in Singapore, there's National Library, which they have the Econshan reference library, as it is one solely running for references purposes. So where we can go and get all the reference materials wherever is possible. All materials are available. Even National Archive are also available. One good thing the National Library actually did it in year 2016, which they digitalized all the Tamil books uh, which are published before 2016. That is also available online and free to access. Anyone can access from anywhere. So this is a very good project that they did it. So this materials, anytime it is available on hand. On the go, we can just refer to it if we wanted to read those materials. So there are materials available. Only finding a time to go and refer all this stuff. Yes, that's our challenging time. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose research, if you're both engaged in historical novels, then research is going to play a huge part in the conception of it. Um, are you able to mention the name of this restaurant? It's a real restaurant, isn't it? Or would you rather not? Would you rather keep it?
I think I would like to keep it for now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have they got archives or anything like that that you can?
Yes, yes, they do have a lot of materials. So I'm also collecting whatever materials they keep it. Uh, and also they are publishing in the 25th anniversary magazines and even the 100 years anniversary magazines also they do have it. So I'm also collecting all these materials. I met one of the successors' wife. She's also close to me. She's also participating all of her Tamil community events, and she's also promoting language everywhere. So she's also supporting Tamil writers and poets. So I'm also collecting details from her to get more references, more personalized references. Yeah.
I guess as yeah, in sort of writing about Tamil history, a lot of that history is going to be through less sort of like official sources. It's going to be through personal exchanges or things like that. So that's definitely a challenge. I also encounter like whose version of the truth or history do you rely on? Yeah.
So the plantation Tamils, they in many ways need their history to be made available, not just to people in Sri Lanka, but to the rest of the world. So I'm really interested in, do you feel that sense of responsibility or um, towards this? So is there sort of a political urgency that's dictating your work? Or?
Yeah, really interesting question. Of course, there's a sense of like responsibility about um, doing it justice and being, doing the right thing for the work. But I think I'm mostly driven by curiosity, um, in the sense that I didn't really know much about this history. Really, I grew up in Australia. Um, from a very young age, was most of my education was sort of more the Western canon. And I guess I just never knew about this history, and it was really more of a pursuit of trying to understand where I had come from, why, my parents and myself are the way we are. That really got me curious because, you hear all these, like, rumors of your family history, don't you? Like, how this person had a child on this estate or this person nearly got murdered, and all these things or things like this, which just had no real reference for. So that got me just more curious about understanding this history. And then I became to understand how politicized, how divisive a lot of this history was. And things just started to make more sense. And I guess I'm driven to understand this history because I still feel like it has a legacy on it still has a contemporary legacy, like you've mentioned. Um, in many ways, I'm very privileged. Had opportunities that not maybe everyone, who's got a plantation history has. And I've had the opportunity to explore that. But I am very sensitive about all those sort of ethics as well.
Mm. For our audience who might not be aware of the history of the plantation Tamils in Sri Lanka, could you just give a couple of sentences about what's going on?
Yeah. So I also like learnt this quite late in my life. So essentially, uh, there was a famine in India towards the late 19th century, which resulted in many South Indian Tamils choosing to go work in tea estate plantations, uh, organized by British colonial uh, industry officials. And it was a hugely exploitative and environmentally damaging, exploitative of individuals who didn't necessarily know how long they were going to be there. They traveled by boat. Many got ill and died just their journey getting to Sri Lanka, which, for indentured labor history, that's such a common story. So this was, I understand, towards the late 19th century. And there are still people who work on the estates who are still, um, very disadvantaged, prejudiced. And yes, so that's a sort of nutshell of that history.
Thank you. Thanks, Niroshini. Um, Inbo, so, with your characters, are you able to have a sense of freedom to allow them to, I don't know, be rebels or whatever, or break the mold, or go in new directions, or do you feel that sense of history of this restaurant that has occupied a very important place in Singapore that you need to carry on, sort of not venerating, but protecting their reputation? I mean, how torn are you between a writer's impulse and a responsibility towards an organization which is a diasporan venture, as it were?
Yes, so it's a very good question again. So my characters is more on focusing on food, especially the food and its culture only, not more on the rebels or the freedom fighters or colonial um, uh, soldiers kind of background. But more on is more polite and lovable characters and more um, soft, soft-spoken characters. So because it's a vegetarian restaurant, I can't put more aggressive characters.
Have to be a meat eater in order to have fire in your blood. Is that what you're saying?
You're right. So vegetarian eaters always, I believe, be polite and soft-spoken. Yeah. Yeah. So the story is spinning behind the restaurant and in Singapore, if you see, it's a international food. Uh, any country food, if you can get it, that is possible to get it in Singapore. You can get Indian food, Thai food, any kind of food, Hokkien food, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, any kind of food you can get it. That's not possible in all countries, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Uh, so that's a chance we have. Uh, I guess this is also another privilege to get the international food taste here. So I just wanted to give a sense of all kind of foods as well. So how each food carries its cultures and throughout, and also how this restaurant survived during the colonial period. So the fight is going on everywhere. People trying to catch the places here and there. They are putting bombs and people are dying. People are killing someone. So still the restaurant survived. Still, they are continue to run the restaurant. They are still cooking food for the soldiers. They are cooking food for the people who are fighting for the country. So that background I wanted to cover it together. So as the main focus. Okay, so in my fiction, I focus on three chapters, which is mainly for the during the colonial period and um, a post-colonial period. So how it is survived and along with the freedom time, Singapore freedom that has happened in 1965 and how it transitioned to the adaptive homes. Yeah. So what are the helps that the government offered to grow the businesses right after the freedoms? The kind of focuses I'm actually planning that is in planning now. So I don't know once I started writing how it goes and where it turns. It depends.
Yeah. I mean, that's really interesting, and that, I suppose, you're allowing the work to have a freedom to lead you, which is really interesting, I think. So will you be using recipes as well? Are you looking at recipes as cultural products? Or
Yes, at certain extent, I think it is better or it is good to introduce kind of very rare recipes, which is unforgotten recipes. Maybe the old traditions is the grandma's recipes, which is not been available now. So such things also I'm actually planning to introduce. Not to kind of introduce, it's a retold, untold stories. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can really sort of place your narrative in time based on the food you're talking about.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. And are there any recipes that we've lost now? They've gone or become
So got a lot of
extinct?
all grandma's recipes, got a lot of recipes that we last over a period of time. Right, if you know, grandma used to tell even the stories itself, right? So grandma stories is more popular. All stories are are forgotten now. Uh, so always the grandma stories is spinning behind food. If you see the kaka party padasutta kada in, you pay could easily relate. The party is the one who made the padai. That also relate to the food story. Right. That's where this thing Indian storytelling started from that story, right? Yeah.
Sure. So for
Mm.
those who don't know, Tamil party means a grandma. So
Grandma, yeah, party
yeah,
means grandma.
as Inba's been talking about the sort of ancestral memories and cultural memories and that sort of modernism has sort of destroyed so much, hasn't it? It's happens everywhere.
So this is a restaurant that you can go to now in Bath, is that right? It's still open?
Yes, yes, it is open with the multiple branches. I used to go there. Um, I think I have also shared it the Sash before. In this restaurant, I was working. When I came to Singapore, the first restaurant that I have implemented my project, the restaurant first they started Tamil websites in Singapore for the first time. So I worked on that project for them to implement the system for the restaurant. So I know the bit and background of the restaurant.
So it's great that you're writing about a place that still exists. Um,
Yes, yes,
Reading
it.
that with historical fiction, um, I guess, like,
Mm.
often when you're writing historical fiction, or sometimes you're writing about places that don't exist, that you can't visit, it's great that your work is straddling both.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this restaurant initially when they started during the colonial period, uh, that was in the very small scale uh, kind of business. Uh, that location itself it is still uh, exist. The shop itself is still exist. So even though over the period of time they've opened multiple branches and it is available in different locations in I think about 5 or 6 locations they started the branches here. But the first location recently got closed by one of the government initiative that they wanted to expand uh, the roads, the highways. So that's the reason that that restaurant was actually closed down. What is it? This is last year. Mm. That was the first one they started in colonial period. Yeah.
Oh, that's sad. So that's
Mm.
gone now.
That the restaurant is there, but it's not operative because they are going to demolish it because of the expansion of the highways.
Oh, oh, that's horrible. Um, and are you writing about? Because I know Niroshini is writing about is interested in women and girls and their lives. What about you? Are you talking about women as well or men? I mean, who works in these restaurants? Is it?
Yeah, yeah. There were a lot of women booked in this restaurant even during the colonial period itself. A lot of women involved in this restaurant and its developments. So definitely I need to write about the women's survival during that time, how women came to Singapore as a migrant and how they carried and how they lived together with their as well some people they leave their family behind and some only came to Singapore alone. um, migrant always they just come in a ship and they don't bring their family along. So some people come along with the family. So even though they come with the family, how the family is survived in Singapore. So that kind of a stories also I just wanted to include along with this. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fascinating. What about audience? Because you're both writing dislocated from the source of your projects, but also as writers. in a diasporan context. So who are you hoping will read your work, and who does read your work? Inba, should we start with you?
Yeah, okay. So maybe I can start with this first. Niroshini, is it okay? Okay, so for the audience, if you're saying it's definitely Tamil speaking communities in Singapore and also across the globe diaspora, whoever is passionate about their culture and their identity. Of course, the motherland of Tamil Nadu, those Tamil speaking community around there as well. I'm also focusing on bilingual, but that's not in a very soon project or something. But in long run, I actually plan for the bilingual. Uh, 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 I cannot say that is a bilingual, but it's maybe a translated version of the fiction. Yeah. So maybe in the long run, I can also focus on translating this fiction to English to attract the global audience. If it is possible, if everything is going well, then why not? So try that. So basically, this marketing that is also one of the biggest challenge in Singapore. Um, there's doesn't much possibility of doing this marketing. There's not much shops, especially the shops which are selling Kamal boxes are very limited. So maybe I can just count one or two here. Yeah, so mostly how we market our books is more on community engagements, organizing events, and of course the digital outreach, which is through the social medias. Yeah. And some of the magazines, Tamil magazines in Tamil Nadu, those are also sometimes it helps to um, promote books, and also some writers can write about the books to promote it along with it. Yeah, so the kind of uh, outreach that's what happening here. But that's not similar to what the English readers or English books are currently doing. It is so the opportunities and the choices are very limited for some books. I think it's not only me, so anyone who write in their own mother tongue, that is a challenge they may face across. Yeah.
Because Singapore, Tamil is one of the national languages of Singapore, isn't it?
It's one of the official language in Singapore. Yeah. So although government is giving a lot of promotions and a lot of grants, a lot of opportunities to speak Tamil at home and promote the language and cultural emphasizes, but English is majorly being spoken, and people tend to easily move to English speaking community rather than Tamil speaking, I can say, Tamil speaking people. Yeah, so they are leaving their mother tongue behind. That's unfortunate. It's happening here. Um, uh, Mostly it happens for all diasporic people, right? So mostly, yeah, that's unavoidable at certain extent. But certain extent, yes, it is possible to change over that time.
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully the future generation may change. And will be okay.
May change. Hope for the best.
I'm trying to teach my daughter Tamil, just a little bit. Hopefully she'll
That's
pick it up
great.
and learn it, with fun.
So you teach in Tamil, I teach in through English or through Tamil?
Through Tamil book. Yeah.
Through Tamil. Okay. Okay.
And then, once she gets more advanced, maybe she can go to Tamil school, something like that.
Mm, right.
In terms of audience, I must admit, I did not particularly think about that. I guess because I assumed um, there wasn't going to be a particular readership. It's always surprising when people do read your work. But saying that, I do feel like in London, there is a really good culture of literature and community. And I do believe like good writing will find a way through. That's always been the power of writing, that the writing itself stands for itself despite the writer. So I've always believed in writing and language in that sense. I think that's a faith that still carries me through despite all the challenges of writing. And also like I also just love the idea I'm writing that something that never existed for myself or my cousin or my daughter or my niece or nephew. I just think something about recognizing yourself in art is so powerful that your life was worthy of art. And yeah, even that feeling I got from other artists, even if I do like a little bit of that in my work, it's all worth it. So I guess that's what I'm thinking about audience, just people who, in my family or my community who may appreciate seeing themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important to be able to see yourself or to see parts of yourself outside yourself being reflected back to you through, actors who appear on stage or TV or books. Yeah, no, I think that's really it sort of fights some of that dislocation that we talked about at the beginning about a sense of a loss of place, just by being able to be seen. You're sort of grabbing a bit of you're rooting yourself a bit, aren't you? So you can claim this new soil. No, that's really, really interesting. But as we've talked, I've become really interested in the fact that we are talking about Tamil as if it's this one big monolithic language culture. But you both and me as well, all three of us, in fact, come from slightly different um stratas of the language and the culture and the history. So Inba being an Indian Tamil, Niroshini being Indian Tamil settled in Sri Lanka, me being a Sri Lankan Tamil, although I do have Indian roots, but I've never ever identified as an Indian, so we'll just forget that. Um, what does it mean to be Tamil? What sort of things do you grab onto to say, look, I am Tamil? Is it just a language? Is it cultural productions? What is it for you? Should we start with Niroshini this time?
Mhm. Sure. Yeah, it's a really interesting question. What does it mean to be Tamil? The big question. Um, and I guess, I was born in Sri Lanka, as I mentioned, which has its own like conflicting narratives about what it means to be Tamil, which I was mercifully not aware of as a child. And then, moving to Australia, where I quickly wanted to forget Tamil and didn't want to have anything to do with it because there was so much pressure to fit into this sort of white culture. Um, and now back in the now I live in the UK, which has its own, you know, Tamil culture and history. I think what I'm most struck about is how different it means to be Tamil. How many different ways you can be, but still, I still think there's a lot of like beauty and power in our commonalities. And I love that books like Out of Sri Lanka sort of celebrated the ways of being different, but in a shared space. But I think there's still like I'm really interested in the commonalities because I think so much of the historical narrative has been about difference. But if you look on a map, Sri Lanka and in South India are so close. Um, and the movement between the peoples, I'm sure for all these years, I'm sure genetically we're all super similar. Um, so and yeah, I guess I'm like really interested in that. But how, I guess, yeah, I don't know, because I am someone who doesn't really identify at anything nationally, really. But I will hold on to being Tamil. Like I will say I'm Tamil. That's the thing I identify with the most, even though of all these other things I could potentially be. And I think it's just really basic things like, especially with a daughter, like the importance of the words you first hear when you're born. how that literally shapes your brain and your identity, the music and the food, like in those novels about like that all counts for something. And I guess it just feels like a home, it feels like home. That's probably the clearest way I can express the language and the culture feels like home.
Okay, so first of all, Tamil is not a monolithic language. I think we do all agree to it. What I feel that the richness of the language, Tamil, as you know, this is the oldest language in the world. Uh, and it is a diverse language and it is culture and a strong culture piece and it has regional dialects also is one of uh, the most beautiful thing that the language is having it. Mm. And also the oldest literary forms uh, uh, came through these languages, especially I then call it as Tirukural. That's one of the most beautiful uh, poems written by Toelua. Uh, those things that the legacy the ancestors have left behind us, that's more important. So we have very strong base and Tamil among all other languages. Tamil is the beautiful language that we have. The voice has to be heard out. Being the diaspora writer, I feel that language has to be heard and it has to be respected and it has to be shared across to the world to know the beauty of the language, the beauty of things that the language has. Also, um, so no matter what, the language um, uh, 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 should not be leaving behind, or I can say we cannot leave the language at any cost because it's oldest living language. I can say it's a living language, right? So uh, that's the most beautiful thing. I always celebrate my language. That's my identity. That's my mother. As Niroshini said, right, the first word that we learned is through our mother tongue. So that's the beauty that the mother taught you. To the we still carry over and we leave behind to our next generations to carry over. Uh, so if we do not do that, uh, over the period of time, the next generation will be they do not know there's such language exists in the world, kind of, so that's a responsibility. I would say that yeah, it has to be carried over through yeah. We have to pass over to our next generation to carry. So I love Tamil. No matter of what, yeah. So I love Tamil, the richness. That's the beauty.
I suppose what the language you create in, it has to have a very special place in your heart, really. Um, I find, just talking about myself here, but Tamil for me is a source of real pain. So for me, I don't see the beauty, although I can hear it. For me, it is everything that it's fear, it's trauma, it's pain, it's the need to hide. And there isn't often many places to hide in language. So it's really interesting that we've got three women who have roots in Tamil language, who have completely different lived experience of it, which is fascinating, isn't it? And that I suppose that's the strength of that language. That even though I feel a need to distance myself from it, still, um, that I still work with it, and it still brings me, it's my job. So you can't really get rid of it in many ways.
Some things will never
But
let go of you, even if you want to let go of it.
I know, it's yeah, it does hold on to you completely. Um, but also the Mahayana Tamils, or the plantation Tamils in Sri Lanka, their Tamil is completely different to Sri Lankan Tamil. To the extent where, I mean, I find it difficult to translate their poetry because it's a dialect, like Inba said, it's a dialect from South India that um, is so rooted in a particular locality that I'm not part of that, and it's hard. I don't translate their work at all. I try not to. Um,
It's interesting because my dad does translation as well in Australia, and,
yeah,
he's really good at switching between the different Sri
mhm,
Lankan slash Tamil
yeah,
dialects, and so I sort of grew up hearing all the different dialects as well in the house,
yeah.
so yeah, it's very interesting how different they sound.
That's really good because I mean, because I'm a Jaffna Tamil, and we were sort of say, well, there is only Jaffna Tamil that matters, literally. Um, it wasn't until I was older that I was aware of the Indian Tamil and their own subculture and how it hasn't changed. I have so much respect for the people for, keeping it going in spite of all the prejudice they've faced, not just from the Sinhalese or from the government, but also from other Tamil communities on the island. Um, yeah, we're doing really well. I'm just checking the time. I think we're sort of coming to the end. I suppose it's been fascinating talking to you about process and what you're working on and how important language and history and cultural memory means to both of you and how you're transforming that in your work. Um, I suppose we can end the conversation talking about what do you want readers to take away from your work? If that's a easy question to answer, I don't know because you write what you write because you need to write it, and you shouldn't be thinking about readers. But is there anything that you feel you can answer? Is there an answer you can give to that?
Probably, yeah. So probably I can share. So why? First of all, sometimes I used to think why I'm writing. So who's going to read? Uh, Told is nobody is going to read. So why am I writing? So, so that thought always come to my mind. But I feel that I wanted to be connected. So I just wanted to celebrate my language. I just wanted to pass my time. So I just want to write it. So no matter whatever it comes to my mind, I just want to write it because of the language and its rules and its their stories I wanted to tell. So another thing, in a way that someone, if I leave my works behind, uh, if someone else wants to refer back to my maybe in future generations wants to read the stories of mine, and they get inspired, uh, and they start writing, they start quoting, they start reflecting something related to the work. That is the most biggest thing that I feel that I wanted to get that behind. So even one person, one single person, I wanted to refer back to my work. That's good enough for my love to be huge. So so that's the thing. I just wanted to write it. Yeah. So the Tamil stories want was to be heard everywhere, and it has to be heard everywhere. Yeah.
I guess sort of what touching what Imba said before, I think it's about the engagement with tradition, like a literary tradition or a storytelling tradition. 'Cause I feel like being a writer, just the practice of it gives so much meaning to life. It feels like you're engaged in something meaningful, purposeful. I mean, although in recent times I have questioned what does it mean to be a writer and what purpose it serves in a world where there's so many, huge problems going on. But I still retain that there is meaning in being a writer, and I think that is ultimately what keeps me going. But yeah, it's that sense of that beautiful tradition continuing. And you're just, yeah, I mean, you're just doing something little, taking one teeny step forward that's been in a process that's been going on for thousands of years. And I think that that's beautiful.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. And uh, considering that poetry readerships like minuscule, I think you definitely reach more people writing fiction, and it'd be fascinating to read your books when they're ready and finished and researched and crafted and published. And it'll be I'm sure you'll add to the sort of bibliosphere that we all inhabit, and enhance it with your own knowledge and your own insights. So I don't know, is there anything else? Any final thoughts from either of you, both of you?
It's actually, yeah. So thank you so much. It's been a very wonderful discussion, very meaningful question, and we put all of our thoughts together. So we all connected. I felt we all connected, yeah. So through the language, wherever we are sitting in different places, different countries, different time zones. We are still connected through the language. So, so thank you so much. It is really fascinating. Yeah.
Questions are not important, but the answers that you both gave helped this conversation go along. So thank you both very much. Sorry, Niroshini, I didn't know whether you wanted to say final.
No, it's just really been very, very interesting. I guess, talking about these things, you don't always get a chance to speak in such a specific way. Tends to be much more high level. So yeah, privilege. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you both very much. And thank you very much to the National Arts Council of Singapore and the National Centre for Writing for bringing us all together so we could share this fantastic hour of talking Tamil and Tamil literature. Thank you. And thank you very much for listening.